FBI Hostage Rescue Team. Nobody calls you SWAT. That distinction matters. You are HRT, the FBI's Hostage Rescue Team, the only full-time federal counterterrorism unit in the United States. Activated in 1983 under Director William Webster, HRT was built around one hearted mission. Some situations are too dangerous for anything less than this. You were selected out of the FBI's special agent ranks. You already carried a badge, ran cases, knew the law. Then you applied for the most competitive assignment in federal law enforcement. The selection is modeled on military special operations. 2 weeks, sleep deprivation, stress inoculation. The test isn't whether you're good. It's what you do when good isn't enough. You train 50 weeks a year and deploy on 30-minute notice. Tonight's call-out is a barricaded subject holding a hostage in rural Virginia. 2 assault elements: simultaneous breach, front door and rear window. Timeline from first movement to secure, under 90 seconds. Hostage on the floor, unharmed. Subject in custody. You don't celebrate, you debrief. You find the 1 second that was slower than it should have been, and tomorrow you fix it. The HRT has responded to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the Branch Davidian standoff, and every major domestic terrorism event in the decades since. You carry a badge and a warrant. You also carry the weight of every life that depends on you getting it right. That's not pressure, that's purpose. LAPD SWAT. The world's first SWAT unit was born in Los Angeles. In 1967, Inspector Daryl Gates proposed a special weapons and tactics team after watching officers outgunned during the Watts riots of 1965. 2 years later, LAPD SWAT officially stood up, and law enforcement around the world took notes. You are one of 68 full-time operators in a city of 4 million people. Your call-out log reads like a textbook on urban crisis management. Barricaded suspects, active shooters, hostage situations in apartment buildings where every neighbor is a potential casualty. Los Angeles doesn't give you quiet problems. Tonight's call is a barricaded gunman in Koreatown. 3 civilians inside. The negotiator gets a partial surrender. 1 hostage walks out, 2 remain. The gunman stops responding. Command authorizes the breach. Kitchen entrance plus a diversionary charge at the front. 12 seconds. Both hostages out. Our suspect contained. The North Hollywood shootout in 1997, the bloodiest police gunfight in modern American history, happened blocks from where you train. That single event rewrote armament standards for police departments across the entire country. You are the reason those standards exist. The first, the template. Every SWAT team in the world trained on what you built. That's not legacy. That's a debt that only goes one direction. U.S. Marshals Special Operations Group. The United States Marshals Service is the oldest federal law enforcement agency in American history. George Washington signed it into existence in 1789. The men and women carrying that badge today are the direct descendants of frontier lawmen who rode into places where the law had never been before. You are SOG, the Special Operations Group, the tactical arm of an agency that has been hunting fugitives since before the country had a highway system. Your mission sounds deceptively simple. Find people who don't want to be found and bring them back. The execution is anything but. The fugitive you're tracking tonight has been running for 14 months. 3 prior attempts ended with him gone before the team arrived. You've mapped every associate, every vehicle, every address in a 300-mile radius. At 4:30 in the morning, you knock on a door in Memphis. He's there. He's not ready. You are. Warrant served in 40 seconds. The marshals have walked prisoners through war zones, pursued outlaws across territories that didn't have names, and protected federal judges when no one else would. The badge hasn't changed. The mission hasn't changed. The country got bigger and more dangerous. You got better. The oldest badge in federal law enforcement. Every fugitive who ever ran found out the same thing. The marshals don't close the file. They just wait. DEA, Special Response Team. The Drug Enforcement Administration was established in 1973 under President Richard Nixon as a direct response to a narcotics crisis fracturing American cities. 50 years later, the cartels got bigger, the violence got worse, and the DEA's Special Response Teams got sharper. You are SRT, an agent who crossed into tactical operations without ever leaving the investigative side. You built the case. You know every alias, every supplier, every route. And tonight, you're the one stacking at the door. That's what makes SRT different from every other tactical unit. The operators breaching this house are also the investigators who built the file. Or tonight's operation is the end of a 16-month undercover investigation into a fentanyl network out of Phoenix with cartel connections running to Sinaloa. 4 simultaneous locations, 22 arrest targets. All 4 sites hit in the same 60-second window so nobody makes a phone call. You enter the primary residence and find exactly what the case file said would be there. DEASRT has executed operations in over 60 countries. They've worked alongside CIA and military special operations in the most volatile drug corridors on Earth. They don't just make arrests. They dismantle the architecture of addiction. From the wiretap to the warrant to the handcuffs, start to finish. That's not just law enforcement, that's ownership. NYPD Emergency Service Unit. New York City is 8 million people compressed into 302 square miles of steel and concrete. Nothing about that environment is forgiving. It was inevitable it would produce the most battle-tested urban police unit in the country. ESU has been operating since 1925. It is simultaneously a SWAT team, a search and rescue unit, a technical rescue team, and the first call for everything NYPD patrol cannot handle. You went through patrol, thousands of calls. You built the instincts. Then you qualified for ESU, which meant adding tactical medic, rope rescue technician, hazmat responder, and close quarters firearms operator to everything you already were. Tonight's call is a jumper on the Williamsburg Bridge. You approach in plain clothes. No crowd, no spectacle. You talk, you listen. 47 minutes later, the person is safe. You never drew your weapon. Last week, it was a barricaded gunman in the Bronx. The week before, a collapsed building in Queens. ESU doesn't specialize. ESU is the answer to every question the city asks that patrol can't answer alone. 10 ESU officers died on September 11th, 2001. They went in. They kept going in. That is the only sentence that needs to be said about what this unit is made of. New York tests every theory about policing and discards the ones that don't survive contact with reality. ESU is what survived. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, comment what you want next, hit that like button right now, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We upload every single day. Border Patrol BORTAC. The Border Patrol Tactical Unit stood up in 1984 as a direct response to escalating cartel violence along the southern border. It is one of the oldest federal tactical units in the country. And it operates in terrain most tactical teams never train for. You don't work in cities. You work in terrain. Desert, river, mountain, tunnel. You've spent weeks in the Sonoran Desert in temperatures that kill vehicles. You know how smuggling corridors work, which trails are watched, where the dead drops are, how a cartel moves product through land it owns, and you're a guest in. BORTAC trains alongside military special operations units and has deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Honduras. Tonight's operation is a stash house takedown in Texas brush country. 40 migrants inside, guarded by armed escorts. You've been staged in the brush for 2 hours. The command comes through. You move fast. You secure the guards. You open the door and find 41 people who've been locked in that building for 3 days. You call for water and medical support before the building is fully cleared. BORTAC operators have been decorated for valor in foreign combat zones and remote desert rescues in the same career. They move between war and humanitarian work, sometimes in the same operation. The hardest terrain, the most complex missions, the least covered unit in federal law enforcement. They were doing this before most people knew BORTAC existed. A TF Special Response Team. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives has been at the center of some of the most scrutinized law enforcement operations in American history. The Branch Davidian Compound, 1993. The Oklahoma City bombing investigation, 1995. Every mass casualty event involving a firearm eventually involves the ATF. You are ATFSRT, a special agent who crossed into tactical operations carrying the most specialized federal firearms knowledge in law enforcement. When you stack at a door, you know what caliber is likely on the other side, how the weapon was obtained, whether it's been used in a prior crime, and what it would take to prosecute everyone in the building. Tonight's operation is a search warrant on an illegal arms dealer in Chicago. 9 months of undercover buys, controlled deliveries, and a wire that ran for 6 weeks. The breach takes 7 seconds. Inside, 40 unserialized ghost guns, 3 converted automatic rifles, and enough documentation to build a federal conspiracy case that will run for years. A TFSRT is not the largest tactical unit in federal law enforcement, but no one in the country understands the intersection of firearms, explosives, and organized crime the way they do. That expertise walks through the door with them every time. They know the weapon. They know the law. They built the case. When the door opens, nothing inside is a surprise. That's preparation measured in years. Secret Service Counter-Assault Team. The United States Secret Service was established in 1865 to combat counterfeit currency. Within 36 years, following the assassination of President McKinley in 1901, the agency's mission had fundamentally changed. Protecting the President of the United States became its defining purpose, and has remained so for over 120 years. You are CAT, the Counter-Assault Team, not the agent in the suit beside the motorcade. You are the heavily armed tactical element that exists for one specific contingency. If someone attacks the protectee and the close protection detail needs a moment to extract, you absorb and overwhelm the threat. You train for scenarios other security professionals call worst case. You call them Tuesday. Today, the protectee is the president conducting a public appearance in a mid-sized American city. Threat assessment is elevated. Your element is staged in 2 vehicles in plain clothes, covering every entry and exit corridor. You've walked the site twice. You know every roofline. Nothing happens. That is the mission. If nothing happened, you did your job perfectly. The Secret Service has protected American presidents through 2 world wars, the Cold War and the War on Terror. CCAT is the hard edge of that protection, invisible when it works and devastating when it has to. The measure of success is silence. No shots, no incidents, no headlines. You built a perimeter so solid that danger never got close enough to test it. That's the job. They are all still out there. Right now, as you watch this, there is an HRT agent on 30-minute standby, a BORTAC operator staged in the brush, a CAT element in plainclothes watching a roofline, an ESU officer on a bridge in New York City talking. They don't do this for recognition. Most of them have never been in a headline. They do it because someone has to. And they decided a long time ago that person would be them. The calls come at 3 in the morning, on holidays, the day of your kid's birthday. They answer anyway. You don't have to wear the badge to carry the lesson. Decide that the hard thing is your responsibility. Show up when it's inconvenient. Do the work nobody sees. That's not just what elite law enforcement looks like. That's what elite looks like. Period.